INEC distributes sensitive materials, put modalities in place for successful by-elections in Cross River State. Divine Grace Everlasting Revival Mission Calabar leads campaign to end child sexual abuse and violence. Plus, Cross River State House of Assembly holds valedictory session in honor of late member representing Akwabuyu State constituency. Details in just a moment. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Uduak Epu. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it has put modalities in place to ensure a free and fair conduct of the by-elections for Yala-Ugoja Federal Constituency and Akwabuyu State Constituency, scheduled for Saturday, February 26, 2022 in Cross River State. INEC National Commissioner for Information Festus Okoye, who stated this during the distribution of sensitive materials for the exercise, says non-sensitive materials had already been distributed to the various local government areas. Achibombasi completes the report.
The sensitive materials, which are color-coded, have been customized in accordance with the registration areas to ensure a material meant for one array is not moved to a different one. The National Commissioner, Festus Okoye, explained that the Biomodel Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, is customized to each polling unit, and only data of registered voters in those polling units are captured in the BVAS.
So we have so many of our workers who are here and who are performing different roles because we don't want anything to go wrong with this election.
Representatives of the various political parties present expressed satisfaction with the process of distribution of the sensitive materials.
I want to believe that if everything goes as smoothly as this, then we'll have a free and fair process. But of course, you know, the problem doesn't start here. The problem starts when we move into the field.
From what I have seen, the power have returned back to the people. So the people will have a say. We are going to the field tomorrow. We've done our very best, so the people will decide.
Resident electoral commissioners of Oyo, Enugu, and Edo states are expected to supervise one local government each during the exercise, and any results sheets without their signature, the Commission says, will be considered as invalid. Only electorates whose names were on the voter register during the 2019 general elections will be eligible to vote in the Saturday's election. In Calabar, Achibombasi, NTA News.
Ahead of the February 26 Yala-Ugoja Federal Constituency by-elections, INEC has distributed sensitive materials to the various wards involved in the by-elections in the Northern Senatorial District of Cross River State. Isuedodi reports that the party representatives present to monitor the distribution of the sensitive materials to the various wards and to ensure they are not tampered with. After monitoring the distribution by INEC officials, the party agents say they are satisfied with the process so far. With the distribution, all is now set for the election holding tomorrow, Saturday, February 26, 2022. The security agencies in Cross River State have assured eligible voters of safety and enjoined them to come out en masse and exercise their franchise in the forthcoming by-elections for Yala-Ugoja Federal Constituency and Akwabuyu State Constituency without fear of molestation. The Commissioner of Police, Aminu Al-Hazan, gave the assurance in company of heads of security agencies after a security meeting with Governor Ben Ayade in Calabar. He emphasized that various units of the combined security team have already been dispatched to the locations of the elections and warned potential troublemakers to stay clear or face the full wrath of the law. Away from by-elections, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed the conviction that the new Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022 holds a lot of promise for improving Nigeria's electoral processes for a durable democratic culture. The introduction of new technology in particular, he said, will go a long way towards engendering clarity, transparency, and credibility. The president stated this at the formal signing ceremony of the Act, which has been a subject of public discourse in recent times. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the new Electoral Act contains many progressive provisions that will facilitate the conduct of free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. However, considering the tight timelines contained in the new law, INEC fully appreciates the importance of proceeding with their implementation in earnest. A statement by the INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, indicates that the Commission will hold an extraordinary meeting on Saturday, 26 February 2022, to come up with arrangements for the full implementation of the 2023 general elections. Troops of 82 Division Nigerian Army on Wednesday, 23 February 2022, conducted operations to collect criminal camps of members of IPOP operating in Ihiala and also local government areas of Anambra and Imo states. Statement by the Army Public Relations Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu says the troops neutralized one and arrested 3 others, and also discovered decomposing remains of kidnapped and murdered victims dumped in a deep well by the gang. Similarly, in a separate operations conducted on the 24th February 2022, troops of 82 Division Nigerian Army, in collaboration with the Nigeria Police Force, has busted an IPOP syndicate that disrupted the just concluded local government council elections at some polling stations in Enugu State. You are still watching Nta Calabar News at 7. You can equally watch this newscast on our YouTube channel at YouTube/Nta Calabar. A break now, the news continues shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Sexual molestation and violence perpetrated against minors have been awash on media in recent times, with advocacies from various quarters on the need for all hands to be on deck towards putting a check on the menace. The Divine Grace Everlasting Revival Mission Calabar is leading the campaign to end child sexual abuse through awareness. Correspondent Cecilia Julius has the reports.
Sexual molestation results in severe physical, psychological, and social harm. Victims experience an increased risk of sexually transmitted infections. As part of efforts to achieve the elimination of child sexual abuse, as well as all forms of injustice, the discourse during a seminar centered on how the church is engaged in enlightening the people on the ills of sexual abuse and ways to provide solution to the harmful cultural practices that threaten the well-being of minors. Stakeholders in their various submissions speak on the role of religious institutions and parents addressing the underlying issues and factors hindering accelerated elimination of the menace.
Recognize this science. How do you begin to recognize this signs and see if you can help prevent it? And honestly, not that
raping is a cause. When you see, you speak out. Everybody should speak out. Condemn it. Then protect your family.
Christian clerics dwelt exhaustively on the need to sensitize the people to liberate and educate the populace on the need to break the silence.
The essence of this program is to bring the parents together to teach them a way to avoid rape and some immoral attitude in a society.
Is the male child that actually should be groomed and trained, because rapists, if they stop, then the girl child wouldn't. You don't have girls going around asking men to come rape them, but the men will go rape. So we should allow our little girls to feel free, and whether they get dressed to the angle or not, the men should be trained not to, go around abusing them.
We blame it on men, but personally, I don't blame it on men alone. Judging from the way our girls are dressing up this time around, the main organ moves very easily when it's attracted to something. So in some cases, we blame the male child. In some very few cases, I blame the female child. And I blame the mothers too for allowing their children to go out almost naked.
We are concerned that if this generation keeps up, or if they are not impacted morally, spiritually, then we have lost out.
This is a clarion call to every parent, every adult, including children. I've benefited a lot as a parent to be able to educate my children and let them know what is out there.
The forum advises parents to closely watch their words and be guided by what they view from the internet. In Calabar, Cecilia Julius, NTA News.
A high court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos, has sentenced the kidnapper Chukwudu Meme Onwamadike alias Evans and two others, Uche Madi and Okochukwu Nwachukwu, to life imprisonment. This followed their conviction on a 2-count charge bordering on conspiracy and kidnapping. In a judgment that lasted more than 3 hours, the court took judicial notice of circumstantial evidence as well as confessional statements of the defendants contained in video clips and admitted as Exhibits 2, 4, and 10 by the court. He frowned at attempts by defense counsel to discredit the exhibits, noting that provisions of Section 9, subsection 3, cited by the counsel did not invalidate the admissibility of confessional statements, especially when they are in keeping with sections of the Evidence Act. Justice Oshodi noted that with the rising cases of kidnapping in the country, the sentence would serve as a deterrent to others planning to toe that path. Good township roads do not only ease movement but minimize risk and deaths. This is why the ongoing rehabilitation of roads in Kaba, Kogi State, is a source of joy for residents and road users, including those coming in from other states in southwest Nigeria. Jonathan Omajali has more.
Breakdown of vehicles such as these used to be a common sight on major roads and streets in Kaba, a problem that stemmed partly from the deplorable conditions of most of the roads. A drive through the streets was hardly a luxury, but the story is changing with the massive construction and rehabilitation of roads in the local government. Major roads already completed include Oba Rowe, St. Barnabas Road, Fentiwan Road, and Agalupa Road. Areas under construction include Bestway through Kano Road and Bolorunduru Aziz. Residents and motorists are already counting the gains of the development.
We saw them last year that they started the road. We think that they are paying. So as it is now, we see them that they are serious and it's almost finished.
Well, the road, the development is a good one. It is a movement maybe from home to work, and then it also reduces the risk of accident on the road. I think it's a good idea.
With that one, if to say we get small road like this one, that Lagos where we go, you go come closer.
Actually, you carry passenger, you will not be able to ride well, and before you know, you have a headache. But now around, we thank God about the road they were doing it, because he make my movement, my business move smoothly.
For the road, because as you can see now, the other side, the motorists that are coming from Kano, they have abandoned that place, passing through because it's a shortcut to where they are going. I think this is a very good job, and we really appreciate our state governor.
We have many ongoing. As I told you, we have a governor that is very passionate about everybody. And every deployment of resources, infrastructure, or whatever development we are doing is spread across the 3 senatorial districts. Road construction, I think we should give kudos to His Excellency for what is happening in Kogi. In Kaba, Surulere Street, Kano Street, Ogolua, Nta Roundabout, many other roads in Kaba Township. We are also about 80% completion in Kaba. That is the traditional headquarters of the Okun people.
From Kaba, I am Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
The uncertain nature of the global economy is necessitating institutional framework that can sharpen risk management culture among Nigerians. This explains the proposal for the establishment of Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola, who was at a public hearing, says the bill to that effect was drawn to public discourse. Following the return of 2 Nigerian artifacts from Britain, the Oba of Benin, Omo N. Oba, and Edo, Uku Apolopolo Ewurare II, says plans are underway to construct Benin Royal Museum, where all the recovered artifacts will be kept as part of strategies to preserve nation's historical monuments. The monarch said this during his royal visit to Aleke and paramount ruler of Egbaland. Lekon Agbonde reports.
The visit of Oba Benin, who was received by his host, the Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Dedotun Aremu Gbadebo, depicted the brotherhood and traditional relationship which transcended the 2 kingdoms. The Oba of Benin, who said he was happy to visit Egbaland, where he noted his grandfather had earlier resided, explained that preservation of the nation's artifacts is crucial and such artifacts should be kept within the palace. He expressed gratitude to the federal government and the Nigerian ambassador to the United Kingdom, Sharafa Atunji Ishola, for their efforts towards the return of the artifacts. Oba Dedotun Aremu Gbadebo, while appreciating the Oba of Benin for the visit, said the people of Egbaland were happy to welcome the king and his entourage to Egba Palace. A royal brass cast effigy of Oba of Benin, sitting in royal and spiritual position, and a 7-kilogram book of Benin anthropology, cartons of wine glass embossed with logo of Oba of Benin, and clothing materials were presented to Oba Dedotun Aremu Gbadebo as royal gifts from Oba Ewurare II.
The Benin monarchy, an anthropology of Benin history, a fashion of part of Benin history.
Representative of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Chief Toye Okanlawon, and the Nigerian ambassador to the United Kingdom, Sharafa Atunji Ishola, also joined Oba Gbadebo to receive the Benin monarch in his palace. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
On a sad note, the member representing Akpabuyo constituency, late Elizabeth Ayonba, who died at the age of 67, has been described as a resourceful and vibrant legislator who stood for human rights of the people. Members of the Cross River State House of Assembly said this at a valedictory session held in honor of the deceased at the Assembly chambers. Justina Etam reports.
It was a solemn moment at the chambers of the Cross River State House of Assembly as the lawmakers converged to pay their last respect to their late colleague. The legislators took turns extolling and reliving individual experiences and last moments with the deceased.
Her contributions to debate were that of a statesman. She was a true considerate and an epitome of knowledge. If anyone was to rate honorable members in respect of her commitment to legislative work, then right honorable Elizabeth Ayonba will score very high.
I have tremendous respect for her, for a woman who said, I will keep my integrity before anything else.
A woman who had become in her time the voice of the voiceless. A woman who gave her all.
Former governor of Cross River State, Senator Leo Imoke, and other PDP stalwarts described late Elizabeth Ayonba as a courageous politician who has changed the face of politics in Akpabio local government area.
Ayonba was someone who was produced from the grassroots. He resisted the politics of the cabal.
He's a principled politician, and that's a very rare thing these days.
For the Deputy Speaker of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Felicia Bassi, the demise of Elizabeth Ayonba is a wake-up call for more women to get involved in politics.
It is time for the women to rise up to the occasion, because we have to speak. We have to speak for ourselves and our children.
As Elizabeth Ayonba bows out of the stage of life, she would be remembered for her numerous contributions, including the introduction of the bill to eliminate violence and prohibit all forms of harmful practices against persons, said to have earned the Cross River State House of Assembly a national award. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
That report wraps up our package for this evening, but before we go, a recap of our major stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission has distributed sensitive materials and put modalities in place for successful by-elections in Cross River State. Divine Grace Everlasting Revival Mission Calabar has led campaign to end child sexual abuse and violence. It was also in the news that the Cross River State House of Assembly has held valedictory session in honor of late member representing Akpabio State constituency. That is it on our news tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.